if you do what you love for work, you'll never work a day in your life. But the risk is that you take what you love and you make it work.
Interesting.
Like I've talked to a couple of different video game streamers. I'm like, do you guys play video games for fun when you're not streaming? And most of them are like, no. Or at least very different types.
I do.
You do.
I play video games. I'll be like, oh, that's cool. I'm like, cool. And I get off and then I'm like, then I do things in video games that I don't do on the stream. But then again, I only stream like, I'll stream like 2 hours in a day. I don't do the 6-hour streams.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a big difference. But I agree with that. Like, you know what? It was when I first read about achievements in video games.
Mm-hmm.
Like you play Xbox, you unlock an achievement. I had read a comparison that like if you do something that you love to obtain something, no matter what it is, you will end up resenting the thing that you love.
Mm-hmm.
So if you love eating pizza and you love playing video games and you have to play video games to get pizza, you will eventually be mad at video games because sometimes you just want pizza.
Yeah.
And you'll get mad at video games for being in between you and your pizza. And I like filming and laughing and producing and being with my friends and eating. And there was a point where I got there on Epic Mealtime. And it's funny because it's like documented, unfortunately, because we never miss a week. So there's like a couple months period where I just full on hate the show. I hate the show. I hate that it exists. I'm so tired of the character. I'm tired of everything. And I didn't want it to exist anymore. And then I was just fortunate enough to snap out of it quickly, where I was like, wait, like, this is awesome. This is a good thing. I forgot, like, what are the options? What are my other lives? This is why it's so important that I did something before I had a real job, quote unquote, before. Because even though it's hard work, it's not the same as, being somewhere at 8 a.m. on someone's dime to do like a tedious task, and I did that full time. And so luckily I snapped out of it. But those months I experienced it. And those months, like that experience is why I understand why guys who had awesome jobs working with Epic Mealtime left Epic Mealtime. I understand that. I'm like, I've been there. And I'm also keen on people chasing something new or doing something or, blossoming or spreading their wings and doing something else. I'm keen on that also. So I respect that. But at the same time, like, I always thought that the job offered at Epic Mealtime for myself or for whoever worked there is like, it's just the best job. Like, you might find something better for sure, or you might find something more lucrative. But ultimately, like, that's a very rare chance because what we do is, like I said, we operate on something that is most people's pipe dreams.
Yeah, it's hard to find 2 pipe dreams in one lifetime.
Of course, it really is. And that's why, like, I've had other YouTubers come to me, like, like years ago, and they're like, Epic Mealtime, like, you should really separate and go and do something else. Because, we used to get 2 million views in a week. Now it'll get, like, sometimes 300,000 views. Or sometimes maybe 1 million. And if it gets 1 million, I'm like, oh my God, wow, big deal again, But like, it'll get like 300,000. I'm like, yeah, you got to move on. But the way I see it is like 300,000 people give a shit. Like, what
That's
the visualization of 300,000 people is in a room.
Yeah. Well,
Picture it. Wrong. They don't fit in the room.
I had to sign 1,000 cards. Like 50 was way more than I thought 50 would be. 1,000 took me hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's just 1,000. Like 1,000 views on a video doesn't seem like a lot of views.
Yeah.
But if you have to sign each card for each person, it's like, whoa.
See, and you know what? What's funny is like when you have a bar mitzvah, Niko, when you have a bar mitzvah,
when I finally have my bar mitzvah,
you have to write a thank you card. It's a tradition to everyone that went there, and like I had a big bar mitzvah with like 300 people. So it took like a month of like an hour after school every day, like sitting down, and maybe subconsciously that resonated with me, the value of one view, And I sat there and I went and I like was like, thank you for coming. It means so much to me. Harley Morenstein, 300 times. Like, oh my God, like that's insane. It is. It really is. So when you see 300,000 views, like I feel bad for some YouTubers that were like, top, like, number one channel on YouTube. And there was a time when Epic Mealtime was the most watched channel on YouTube. And it's like, Some channels, they're just like, they're younger and they're like, oh, the views, the views, the views. And they get obsessed with the views and they want the views. And that's so important. And then their views drop and they're like only getting 800,000 views. And I know that they're panicking. I know that they're freaking out. Like, I know some YouTubers have looked at Epic Mealtime and been like, oh God, I hope that's never me. I hope I never fall to 300,000 views. That would be terrible, you know? But like at the same time, Epic Mealtime is more lucrative today than it ever was. Maybe with the jerky and maybe with like, you know, the trust from brands and stuff like that. But I'm so happy that I stuck with it and I never got caught up in that. Like, you know, I would watch lots of YouTube. So I would watch lots of Fousey and, you know, God bless him. I would watch his videos and, you know, he had the most views on YouTube. And then he went from like the most views on YouTube to a new generation coming. Like someone like Rice Gum got more views. And Rice Gum called him irrelevant. And like it flipped him upside down. You know, and as someone who's been called irrelevant by Rice Gum as well, like, you know, I saw that and I was like, oh, that's funny. But for him, it was like the rug was ripped out from under him. Like some people go on YouTube and think that, you know, and they'll be number one. They think they'll be number one forever. Like I know. Like, I just know that, you know, Jake Paul will not be number one on YouTube forever. I know that, you know, Logan Paul would not be number one forever. You know what I mean? I think one of my favorite channels is PewDiePie. Like, he's got, like, an incredible work ethic, and I think his content is really relevant. I like watching him a lot, and I think that's someone who is more of an anomaly than anyone else I've seen on YouTube because he's like, I've never seen someone surf it so well over the years. I've never seen someone continue to adapt and evolve and do it daily and surf it like so well that I'm curious how he would react if he was not there anymore, you know, like, or how it would
be passed up by T-Series here.
Yeah, I know. I know, right?
Yeah.
So it's even by the time this comes out, who knows? But like, I just like, I know some YouTubers, they chase those views, they chase the subscribers, and I've never been that, going back to like what I said before. I've never chased money, views, subscribers, because then there's this void and you'll never fill it. And even if you get 10 million, now you'll want 100 million and then you'll want 1 billion and then you'll want 2 billion. And no matter what, you'll never be able to fill that void. And so what I've always chased is surviving another day doing it. Just surviving another day. And if it means that like I can't get the best camera or the best computer this time, or I have to do more work, or I have to replace some, or whatever it is, no matter what, or if I have to move cities, doing it another day, another month is the most important thing to me. And I am like, I almost feel like in some ways I'm on borrowed time, like where I'm like, man, this could have ended 4 years ago. And I'd be like, that was so crazy. I never thought that would happen in life. You know, but like here it is 8 years later. I always said Epic Mealtime would be done in 5 years. I said you can't make a bacon joke for more than 5 years. You know, now we're like 8 years and I'm like, I know it'll go for 10. I'm going to stretch it till 10, you know? And then once Epic Mealtime's been around for 10 years, it's like, shit, Epic Mealtime's been around longer than WCW Nitro. And like kids grew up watching WCW Nitro, like their whole life, their whole childhood. But Epic Mealtime might be around longer than that. And like, you know, and I just want to survive continuing doing what I love. And like you said before, like it's the dream. Like that is the dream. Like Captain Disillusion doing what he wants as a living.
Yeah.
You know?
Do you have that worry that like next year the brand deals might stop, or that, because it's kind of an unknown out there, you know, it's always evolving. Like, do you live on that anxiety, or are you pretty comfortable?
No, I've been there. I've been past those. I've been past the times where there's like no brand deals, you know, where brand deals are at a minimum, where they just don't come through. I've seen like our number be at one number and then go down to like 25% that value. And I'm like, let's do it. And then I've seen it go back up to what it was again. It's like, I've been there before. So like, I mean, as ridiculous as it sounds, or as cocky as it sounds, like going into Epic Mealtime, and of everyone that's ever been on Epic Mealtime, I had two friends. I had Sterling, who we started it with, and then you met Sterling that first day I met you.
I think the reason I remember that day so clearly is because both you and Sterling are very tall.
Yeah.
and it's like two very tall men.
We were like tall Canadian dudes, like
Yeah.
just like we're from the mountain.
It's like, whoa.
Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, also to be fair, like you were on back then, you were one of the bigger personalities, and honestly, that's probably not the right way to put it. You were more clearly a character than almost anyone else on YouTube at the time. Everyone else was kind of a nerdy kid trying to figure out. I know you're also a nerdy kid, but like you didn't seem like a nerdy kid in your channel. You actually seemed like somebody stepped from what would usually be a TV position into YouTube, and you were one of those like first people to stand out like that. You know, you were very clearly a big character, and like that stood out to me too because I hadn't met anybody else like that on YouTube.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you. It's true. When I went to VidCon and I met a lot of YouTubers, I'm like, yo, what up? I love your channel. They'd be like, you know, and then 3 years later, they're wearing like all Gucci and they're like, sup, bitch. But I did watch a lot of YouTubers like change in that sense, you know?
Mhm.
But I remember my first VidCon, I'd go up like, people were like, yo, what's up? And they'd be like, oh my God. And then literally they're like pulling up in like the dopest cars 3 years later. And like, you know, like it sets in. But I know what you meant. Like, I know what you mean. It was like it was a rare channel at the time, Epic Mealtime. It was rare at the time. It was different. It was like you either like, you know, if you were a face, you were like, what's up, guys? I'm eating my cereal. I'm going to play my little acoustic guitar and sing you guys a song I wrote. You know, it was like a different time. It was different. But my friends were, you know, Sterling, and we had a falling out. But we cleared the air there, and like, you know, him and we've hung out a couple times since then. And my other friend going into it was Amir,
Mm-hmm.
and Amir is still on Epic Mealtime. And like Let Me Know likes to say, a guy on Epic Mealtime, he always says Amir won the Epic Mealtime Hunger Games.
Oh yeah.
So like he's like, no matter what, like, you know, Amir won the Epic Mealtime Hunger Games. So like, yeah, Amir's like, you know, Amir's clutch. Amir was cooking on Epic Mealtime at the beginning, and then he went to editing, and then he went back to cooking. And so the reason why I bring it up is that, like, you know, when I say I just want to continue doing what I'm doing, at the end of the day is like all I need is this iPhone and a mirror,
Mm-hmm.
and like we have an Epic Mealtime channel.
Yeah.
And I definitely do not want to discount, like, you know, like Mike Santos, Dan Harush, like guys that I work with now, you know, my cousin Justin, who produces on Epic Mealtime now. I definitely don't discount that at all. They make it quality. They make it better. But in its most basic form, at the end of the day, all I need is this phone and a mirror, and we're good. Which is why I feel so bad about, like, you know, Smosh. Like Ian Anthony is like the bank owns Smosh now. And it's like Smosh is dead.
Yeah.
But it's like, damn, all Ian needs is a cell phone for something to be Smosh.